Hello there gorgeous gamers and welcome back to another Pure Play TV video review, and today we're taking to the high seas in Port Royale 4. The game is available now for PS4, Xbox One and PC, with a Switch version planned for 2021. The version we're testing is the PS4 release. I'd like to give two reviews for Port Royale 4, the latest addition in the long-running series from Calypso Media. One review for the fans that have played at least one of the previous games, and one review for newcomers like me. Apparently, management won't let me do that, so we're stuck with just the one. Port Royale 4 is an economy and trade simulator set in the 17th century Caribbean. I jumped right into the campaign playing as Spain. While you'll be hip deep in city building, fending off pirates or pirating yourself, buccaneering and naval combat, the real name of the game in Port Royale 4 is trade. With your small convoy of ships, you start buying the goods that your hometown is producing. Once you buy a trade license with a few neighbouring cities, you set sail with a ship full of goodies that hopefully your neighbours are willing to pay a premium price for. With the money that you make from these items, you buy the goods that this new city produces. Simple really. Buy cheap, sell high. Unfortunately, that's where simple ends. There is over an hour of tutorials to watch, which is nice. They did, however, make me feel like I was back in school. Not so nice. Before we carry on with this video review, do us a favour and hit them like and subscribe buttons down below, and don't forget the bell icon too, so that you're the first to know when we've got new stuff. Cheers my dears! I hate bringing attention to how stupid I am, but it's my job, so here goes. Despite watching the tutorials, some of them multiple times, it took me forever to figure some things out. I do typically learn better by doing, but there was a lot of frustration early on. Buying and selling goods individually is easy, but you'll never make your fortune with this method. To do that, you'll need to set up an automatic trade route. This is where a select convoy will travel a specific route, buying certain items from one city and selling to another, and this is where the trouble started. Picking the towns and navigating the route to utilise wind and avoid rough waters was easy and fun to do, but the rest of the process I found completely unintuitive. Dictating which product is bought and sold to which city took me a couple of stressful hours of gameplay to figure out. The problem for me was the massive amount of screens to scroll through at any given time. When picking which products to buy and sell from each city along my trade route, I need to know what that city specialises in. But that isn't immediately obvious from the screen where you make these decisions. So a lot of the time I felt like I was going in blind, never sure which product to focus on unless I can somehow memorise the wants and needs of each city, which I can't. Plus, it's obvious the game is designed with PC in mind. I definitely could have used the mouse to click through the million menu screens. I am admittedly not great with numbers too, so that didn't help either, but there is definitely a learning curve to newcomers to the genre and the series. Once I finally did get comfortable with the menus and the controls, the game really opened up for me. Much like in my own life as a young man, my first trade route was hemorrhaging money. In just a few in-game weeks, I managed to blow about $200,000. While I was still struggling with the menus, I decided to scale back my route. I shrank my 7-city route to just 4 cities, with a focus on one city that was desperate for rum and another city that had a surplus. As my new automated trade route started to pay dividends, I moved on to other projects, namely expanding my hometown. Once you purchase a building license, you can add new industries if the terrain supports it. If the land can support vegetable production, you can set that up and make more money. Or maybe you need houses to support the new workers who'll be running your hemp farm or logging endeavour. There are over 20 different operations that you can build to expand each of the cities you occupy, with the Viceroy's approval, of course. We all know how temperamental Viceroys can be. There are 4 different campaigns to complete, but you have to start with Spain. You can skip them all and dive into free play, which is probably a great place to start for players who are familiar with the series. If you want to take over the entire Caribbean and run it as you see fit, this is the mode for you. I'd recommend that new players start with the campaign as it gives you tasks to complete that act as a guide of sorts on how to play the game and get things done. I played through the preview a few months back on PC and it looked beautiful. My base PS4 doesn't shine quite as bright, but it still looks good. Being able to pan over the entire map and zoom in close to deserted islands or each city close enough to watch the townsfolk walking around is a joy. Without any load screens, as you pan around and zoom in, it helps promote a very relaxing and chill experience, especially if you love number crunching. Port Royale 4 is not just an accountant's wet dream, however. I did mention there is combat in the form of turn-based naval combat. You can attack warships, cargo ships, or pirates, and of course, they can attack you. You have a viceroy to answer to, so if you attack anyone other than a pirate, expect some repercussions. The combat itself plays out like most turn-based tactical combat does. Each ship in your convoy has a number of action points to use. You'll mostly be positioning your ships to fire its cannons, but there are special attacks to use as well, especially if you have a captain on board. You can also choose to board an enemy ship if you feel your crew has the upper hand. Whether you're successful or not, both ships will be sidelined for the rest of the battle, so that adds an interesting tactical decision. Despite this, the combat felt mostly tacked on and quite shallow. There is an option to skip battles by making them play out automatically, so I think the developer understood too that many players would feel the same as I do. Despite one of the largest and frustrating learning curves I've ever experienced, I actually came to enjoy my time in the Caribbean. Yes, there is a ton of repetitiveness, and a successful trade route means the game practically plays itself, but these games aren't about constant action. They reward players who want to sit back and turn a small town and convoy into a thriving city and beyond. In that respect, Port Royale 4 succeeds mightily. I suspect all players familiar with the series and genre, and even some new players, will laugh at my ignorance, and that's okay. I'm used to it, and I probably deserve it. And there we have it, folks, another review in the sack. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful too. If you haven't already done so, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, and don't forget the bell icon too, so that you're the first to know when we've got new stuff for you to watch. Also, be sure to check out our websites and social media channels, all of which are down in the info box. I've been Chris, you've been Happy Little Sailors, and I'll see you next time. Bye!